Okay. Well, very good morning, guys. So last day we've just been talking about the forms authentication, right? We've just been talking about the forms authentication, and in this process, we have just been talked about MVVM architecture. What is that? Model view, view model. What is that? Basically, in this approach, we create our own views. We create our own views. Sorry, we create our own models for designing the views. But these models are only for view designing point of one. But these models cannot be used for communication with the database. We don't use those models to interact with the database. We call that as a model view, view model architecture. Lastly, we just created two models now. One is register model, login model. Register model and the login model. Okay. We created the register view. Yeah, we're done. We did not create the login view. Let's create the login view, guys. Right click. Added a login model, register. No. Okay. Or the add view option is not coming. What happened to this? Oh, not loaded. Okay. Run as administrator. Login. Add view. MVC5 view. Create. Go for create. Model class is login model. Yeah. So login form. What is this? Reset login. Bootstrap here. Huh? Bootstrap is not there. Okay, let's install Bootstrap, guys. Hello. Yeah, online students, is my voice breaking? Online students, is my voice breaking? Pratap, the problem is from your side. If you're facing a problem, Pratap, that is from your side. Nothing problem from my side. Okay. Account login. Yeah. Okay. So same way we have account register. Register and both the two things. Fine. Now, yeah. What next? You're required to write the post action method now. You need to write the post action method. Go to account controller, public, view result. And I'm just going to register. What should I pass? Register model, right? Register model. Same way, login model. Okay, fine. So here login model and here the register model. The two models what we've just been using now. Fine. Now listen, we just been created a okay. The two models are created. Now, when you click on the register button, all the values will come into model. Now we need to insert them into the database table now. Yes or not? And guys, in this process, all of you should remember one thing here. What is that? When you are going to perform the insert operation, okay, we'll do an insert operation, not a big deal. But one thing you keep in mind, while inserting, you're required to use not our login model. While inserting, we should not use our login model. What should I use, sir? You just required to use the you're required to use the user. user model. Three models are there. One is register model. One is login model. Correct? Huh? These two models are created by, these two models are created. We have one more model also, users. How is that created? That is created from the entity framework. When we ran the entity framework, then that is created. Did you catch my point or not? That is created by the entity framework. That model has to be used in this context. I cannot use the register model or I cannot use the login model to interact with the database. To interact with the database, I should use user. Understood my point here? Okay. Now the first thing is you just required to go for you need to go for the model validation. Now the first step is the model validation. What if model dot model state, I'm sorry. If model state dot is valid, meant if it is valid. If it is valid, what to do? Insert into database now. Not valid. If it is not valid, what do you do, guys? Again, you show the same view back again now. Yes or not? Ray, this is for the validation. We have done all the validations on the register, right? Sorry. Yeah. We have so many validations on that now. If these validations fail, should I save the data? No, the data should not be saved now. So that's why we are writing the condition here. What is the condition? If model state is valid, write the code for saving the data. Else, display the view back again with all the error messages. Anyhow, one thing, what is it? All this control is done on the client side only. But if any reason JavaScript is disabled, then only this else part will execute. Got it or not? What we discussed about data validations here, all data validations are done on the client side. The worst case, client disabled JavaScript. Then the problem is the page is submitted up to server now. Yes or not? In that scenario, in that particular scenario, what happens? The data validations are performed back on the server side. Are you clearer or not? Okay. So that's what exactly happens in this context now. So client side and the server side basically. Okay. Have a look. Say, what you write here, return the view back again. Return view, what you pass? The model object. No, it is valid. If it is valid, then insert. How to insert? Create the user instance now. User is equals to new user. What are the attributes of a user, guys? User ID is equals to model dot user ID. Next, name, model dot name. Password, model dot password. Email, model dot email. What next? Mobile, model dot mobile. Next, status is equals to, that is not model dot, that is only directly true. That is directly true. What next? Did we create the data context class instance? No. So let's create MVC DB entities DC is equals to new entities. DC dot users dot add obj. DC dot save changes. This will save the changes to the database now. And once the changes are done, I want to redirect the user to the login page. You may redirect to the login page, or you may redirect to, okay, login page. I want to redirect. So what do you say? Return, redirect to action. Which page? login. Redirect to action, login. I'm redirecting, but I'm getting an error. See why? What I taken? Okay. So shall I change now? What shall I change? Then I'll get error here then. If I say redirect to route, then I'll get error here now. Action result should be taken here. This is the place where you're required to go to make it as generic action result. So action result may supports anything now. Ali, if I take view result, this will give you error. If I say redirect to route result, this will give you error. If you want both to work, action result is the solution. Is that clear, all of you? Okay. If it is success, insert and open the login. Failure, the same view will be coming back again. Okay. So same way we need to write the logic for login also. Yeah, I'll write the logic for login, guys. Hold on a second. We will first perform a user registration. Then we'll talk about login. I did not still include any forms authentication. I've just only created a registration form, login form. We created this earlier also, but earlier we did not save the data. Now we are saving the data. That's it. So let me run register first. And remember, you have all the data validations here. If any validations are failing, JavaScript will not allow the page to be submitted to server. We did not write HTTP post. HTTP post. Here also. Click on the register button. All the validations are coming in action now. Yes or not? All validations are in action. Why is it submitting? Is JavaScript disabled? Settings. Load. Not installed. Yeah, it is not doing client-side validation because these are not installed. jQuery and all are not installed in the project. So NuGet. What should I install, guys? jQuery. Next. jQuery enough? jQuery.validation. jQuery.validation. That's it. One more. Unobtrusive. jQuery, Microsoft.jQuery. Unobtrusive.validation. All these three. Because these are not there, client-side validations are not working. Validations are being performed. Because it is not doing client-side, where is it doing on server-side? But first thing is client-side only, it has to stop. the path wrong. Scripts, jQuery, scripts, version issues. Let's paste on our own. First, jQuery dot min. Next, validate dot min.js. Next, unobtrusive. Better would have taken a MVC project. Would have taken an empty project. Okay. All validations are getting performed on client side only now. See, the page is not submitting. Even submitted also no problem. Why? We also have a server side validation. Goes to the else part. And in the else part, this code till now, client side validation did not work here. Server side validation only worked now. But now I enable you the client side. Everything is controlled on the client side only. Okay, now if I enter proper details, what happens? This condition gets true and the record is inserted into the table now. Okay, let's try. User ID. We have written some validation on user ID, remember? Where is register model? Yeah. User ID can have alphabets, numerics, minimum 6 characters, maximum 20 characters. Okay. So I'm just giving Raju 1, 2, 3, 4, something. Okay. Name. Name can contain only alphabets and spaces. Lowercase, uppercase alphabets and spaces. Okay. Now password. Now password should contain what? Start with an uppercase character. Afterwards, all these things, minimum 7, maximum 15. I'm giving Raju @ 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. @ 1, 2, 3, 4. Email, you need a valid email ID. And then the mobile number. Register. All validations are perfect. So when I click on the register, model state is valid is true now. Okay. So comes to here, creates the instance of the user. Once the user instance is created, it is added to the and takes you to login page. Clear? Let's see. So now in this application, we have two models. One model is for view designing. One model is for interacting with the database. These are two separate models. Yes or not? Okay, one model is for open the mouth here. View designing. Second one, for interacting with the database, we have a separate model. Okay, we have two separate models. What we have? MVC DB, right? Select star from inserted the record. Are you clear? Okay, so like this, I just created one user. Okay, one more user account will create. Some name, I'm giving the name as Venkat 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so password, I'm giving Venkat @1234 @1234. Not matching. Register. Again, valid, jump to the login form. Yeah. You just created 2 user accounts now. Okay, now? Fine. What next? Login. You want to do your login now. Array, login means not an insert na. You need to write a query now. You need to write a query. Okay. Come on. Come here. Here also change to action result first. If valid, else clear. If valid here, if not valid, here. If valid. If valid doesn't mean that is a valid user. Validation is valid, that's all. Okay. What to do? I need to verify. What do I need to verify? Is the given user existing or in the database or not? With the given user ID password, I require to verify is an existing or not. So if that is the case, what you're required to do is you're required to write a query now. You're required to write a query. Just for example, where user is equals to from u in dc.users. Select you. If I write like this, what will come? All the users will come now. Where, okay, where u dot user ID is equals to model dot user ID and u dot password is equals to model dot. If they are matching, if these two are matching, I want to get it now. Okay. Now tell me, if user dot count greater than 0, valid user or invalid user? Int cannot be applied. Group. Oh, count is a method. Dot count is a method. If user dot count is greater than 0, the user is a valid user now. The user is a valid user. Else, invalid user. Is an invalid user. If it's invalid user, what you do? If you invalid user, simply display a message there. That's all. And also should launch the same view now. Return view model. You want to display some message to the user? If you want to display message to the user, model state dot, we have method guys, add model error, add some invalid login credentials. So if you come to else part, it will show you invalid login credentials and launches you the same model now. If the user is valid, home page of the site. Take to the home page of the site now. Okay. What to do? Return view. And we just required to launch the site homepage now. We're required to launch the site homepage. What is the site homepage? Action method is index. Controller name is. That's it. If it's a valid user, it will go here. Invalid user, error message. Last class, we added account controller, remember? We did not, we just added this controller, that's all. But we did not create a view. We did not create a view here. Let's create, guys. Right click, add view. Simply I'm writing there site homepage. Here also site homepage. Right, design the homepage of the site. Given you examples to you already number of times. Design the nothing but our suppose if it is a school application, students view, display students. That is the site homepage now. Whatever it is, you write your code for site homepage. Right now, tell me if I run the site homepage, is it running or not? Let us see. Will it run or not? Will it run or not? Fast, yeah, answer fast, not after seeing the output. Run, yeah, it runs, no restrictions at all. If I run this, see, site homepage is coming. Correct? And I go for a login, guys. I'll go for a login. Verify. If I give wrong credentials, what will happen? If I give a correct credentials, what happens? Let us see this. User ID. Venkat 1234. Venkat @12345 is the password I'm giving. Wrong password. Password is invalid. Invalid login credentials. Earlier, I did not give @. That's why what? Client-side validation. What is that? A password rule is not satisfied. Now I given Venkat password rules are satisfied. When password rule is satisfied, then it will verify on the server and telling you invalid login credentials. This is what here. What? This method will give you the error message on the view. Are you clear? The first one is a title, guys. This is optional. You can give some title, but that won't show anywhere. Just if you want, you can give a title there. It's just optional. And the second parameter is the value what you want to show. I want to show invalid login credentials. We'll give a correct user ID password now. @1234 login. You were wrong there. Home controller only na. Account controller login na. Home is not taken. Account is taken, right? Sorry. I said return view. Redirect to action. Okay. Once the validations are success, automatically it will open you the login page. Hide button is not shown in my register page. What is hide button? Press well. What is that hide button? I did not understand. This one. You will get this only in the Edge browser. You will not get in the Chrome. You're running in the Chrome. You did not get it. Which? Okay. Well, but this is not completed. What completed? Your registration is done. Login is done. After login, you are going to home page. Everything is fine now. But I'm directly able to open the home page also now. Then what is the use? Why do you design all this nonsense? Waste of time now. All waste of time. You designed all these particular things. But directly when I open also, home page is opening up now. Should it open? No, should not open now. Why? You need authentication. You need a, but what type of authentication? We want a forms authentication. Our plan is for forms because 99% of the web applications are forms authentication only. 99% of the web applications are forms authentication only. So we are not getting the forms authentication here. We want to use the forms authentication. But what did I say? Array, we have some predefined filters implemented as a part of action filters, result filters, exception filters, authorization filter, but we don't have any authentication filter implemented. Are you clear? Till now, guys, I just done whatever you learned in the previous classes. I did not write any new code for you till now. Understood? You know database programming, you know view creations, you know redirections, all the things. I did not write anything newly till now. Now I'm going to tell you the new things. What's it is? I want to create a filter. What filter? Authentication filter. And what are the steps to create a filter? What are the steps to create a filter? Define a class inheriting from filter attribute class. Inheriting from so that your class will become a filter. Second step is what type of filter you want. Authentication filter, authorization filter. Decide that and implement the appropriate interface now. And which filter you want to implement now? Authentication, authorization. Authentication. So you're required to implement authentication filter interface. Is that clear? What is that? Authentication filter interface is what you're required to implement now. Okay, let's do that, guys. How? To write filters in your project, better add a folder called as filters. Mandatory, not like mandatory, just a segregation. With all separation, models in one folder, controllers in one folder, views in one folder, same way, filters in one folder. Are you clear? Migrations in one folder. We learned it in the last week. Migration separately, same way, filters in a separate folder. Okay, I will create a filter now. Add a filter. Add a class. Add a class. Give some name to the class here. Any name you like. What name did I give in my project? Let me see. I would have used some authentication filter is the name what I given. Okay, na? And remember, guys, because you define a class like authentication filter, it doesn't become a filter at all until and unless you inherit from filter attribute class. Until and unless you inherit from the filter attribute class. See, when I use it, immediately the namespace imported system.web.mvc. Have you noticed that? It's in system.web.mvc, automatically imported there. Second thing, what you require to do is you're required to implement the interface. What interface? Authentication filter. It's a different namespace here. Watch on the top. That's what I already taught you. And when you write here, it will import you automatically. Okay, so what to do now? Array, interface implementation means you're required to write the logic in the methods now. Here, before, after won't be there. Why? Array, before authentication, after authentication, everything should be done first only. Here, before, after won't be there. For exception, only after. Yes or not? For authentication and authorization, only before. For action filters and result filters, only we have before and after. Did you catch my point or not? For authentication and authorization, we have only before action. For exception, we have only after action. And for action and result filter, we have before, after. You can do something before, you can do something after, but you cannot do anything after, only before. In this, there are two methods what you're required to implement now. What are the two methods? See? You're required to implement these two methods now and write the logic. What logic you want, you're required to implement that logic. Guys, do you remember in C# I taught you how to generate the methods for an interface? Tell me how. You're nodding your head. You're not telling how to do. Speak louder, yaar. You're whispering in your mouth. How to generate the methods of the interface. Brainless fellows. Right click on this. Quick actions and refactorings. Implement interface. That is what I taught you in the C# classes. Right click. Quick actions and refactorings. Implement. That will generate you the methods now. I did not ask you how to write, how to generate. I asked you. Now you're telling public and all the nonsense. Did I ask you how to write the method? Then why are you telling public and all? How to generate them? We have a built-in support for that. One is on authentication challenge. So what to do now? I'll tell you. Guys, a small thing here. Once come to account controller. If the user is a valid user, what are you doing? You're redirecting to that page. Fine. But one thing, tell me, how do I? So every time will you ask for user ID password? Huh? So many pages are there. Every time you'll ask for user ID password. Then first time you submitted user ID password. Then how do you proceed to the next steps now without asking user ID password? Did you get my point or not? So next time when the next request comes, I need to validate now. If you're a valid user, no need to ask for user ID password again. If you're not a valid user, then you should ask for user ID password. Correct or not? Okay. How do you do that? That's why I do one thing. Whenever the user is authenticated, assign a unique key for every user. Assign a unique key for every user. Store the key in the session. And you know, session is accessible in all the pages of a user now. Next time when the user comes, check the session. If session has a key value, what is the meaning? Already authenticated. Session is null, not authenticated. That is only your identification. If session is null, send him to login page. If session is null, send him to a session as a key. Valid user. No need to ask for authentication again. Continue. Go to the next page. Wherever you want to travel now, no problem. But if session is null, you're not a valid user. So what to do? I need to generate a unique ID. How to generate, sir? In SQL Server, guys, we have an option. You learned in SQL or not, but we have an option. What is that, you know? There is a built-in function called as new ID. This will generate you a 32-byte alphanumeric string. 32-byte. You know the specialty of this value? The value what is generated on your system is universally unique. Universally, not on your system. Universally, that is the guarantee from Microsoft. This value will not be repeated anywhere on any system in the universe. That is a guarantee what it gives to you. Did you get my point? That is why we call this as a GUID. You learned in C# also. Na? Global Unique Identifier. We have a data type for holding that value. Global Unique Identifier. Got it? Same like that. You can generate in C# also. GUID dot. This will generate. C# also generates to you. SQL Server also generates you. C# also generates you. This one, session of some name, guys. Did you understand what did I do? I taken a session. What is the name? And what I assigned? The new ID I assigned now. Afterwards, I'm taking you to this page. And all this happens only when the user is a valid user. Yes or not? So now first time, the user did not still enter the user ID password here. Directly opening the index page. Should it open? Come on, fast. Should the index page open first? No. Where it has to take you? So you need to write a authentication filter now. Authentication filter is the first filter to execute na. So first control goes to authentication filter. In authentication filter, verify. What do you verify? Session has a key or not. Session is not having a value, it is null. Send him to login page. Session has a value. Don't do anything. Let him continue now. Got it or not? So what you require to do, you need to check this verification under this class now. Are you clear? So how do you check that? How are you going to check it out? Okay, just watch this. What's the same? Convert dot to string. Convert dot to string. I'm just calling the method convert dot to string. And now I want to get the session value now. I want to get the session. I want to verify that session now. Filter context dot HTTP context dot session of user key. Watch it carefully. What did you write? Filter context dot session of user key. So this will provide access to the key value now. You're converting the key into string now. You're converting the string into key now. Oh, sorry, the key into string now. Now, just you need to verify. What do you require to verify? It can be null or it can be empty also. Sometimes you assigned an empty string there now. Two chances are there. It can be null or empty. How do you check both? Two condition checks should be done here. One is null check. One is empty check. One is null check and one is empty check. How do you do, you know? String dot is, there is a direct method. What is it? Is null or empty of this value. Did you understand now? What is that? Tell me. If the context session value is null or empty, if it is null or empty, it can be null, it can be empty. Tell me if it is null or empty, valid or invalid? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, if it is null or empty, what is the meaning of it? Valid or invalid? It is invalid now. What to do? Filter context dot result is equals to new unauthorized we have unauthorized exception only here. Unauthorized access, no, unauthorized result. Yes, unauthorized result. What you should do is filter context dot result is equals to unauthorized result. It is unauthorized, means you are not authorized. You are not. When this method is called, whenever the user tries to call a page, which page? Any page. Whenever the user tries to call any page, what will happen? This method gets called. Why? Authentication filter. Authentication filter means this will execute first, then any other action method or filter first to run now. So control will come here. It will check now. Okay. User is not authorized. Immediately what it will do? It will set the result as unauthorized. Are you clear? That unauthorized what to do? That code you should write in this method. Here we require to verify. What you require to verify? Is he authenticated or not authenticated? That's all. Not authenticated, what to do? That method gets called. And there you need to write the logic for what you just wanted to do now. Okay, watch. If filter context dot result is equals to, it was showing you directly, see, filter context dot result is equals to, result is equals to, what you require to verify? Unauthorized is equals to unauthorized. You require to check it out as unauthorized. How do you check? Result is operator, remember? Type comparison. If at all I want to do a type comparison, what do you write? Is operator. If the result is unauthorized, second thing, it can be null also. It can be, that is safe side checking, that's all. Not mandatory, because what you assigned is Unauthorized only will come here. But see, sometimes when you're writing the code, suddenly sessions getting expired, timeouts and all, null values will automatically come out. So we need to be careful with that. We need to check all those things also. Second condition, what you're required to check is or filter context dot result equals to if it is unauthorized or if it is null, what you will do, what you want to do. Come on, tell me, unauthorized or null, what you want to do. I want to take him to login page here. I want to take him to login page. How to take? Not unauthorized is equals to new redirect result. You're required to use a redirect result and redirect him. Where to redirect? Account login. Redirect him to account and login. I'm putting a breakpoints in both the two places, guys. Okay, now we'll see how it executes. Just a minute. Was it? Project under that, account under that, login. Guys, observe it now. First, this method gets called, and afterwards, this method gets called. In this method, you're required to do only condition checking. What is it? Authorized, not authorized. This method, you need to write the logic. Not authorized, what should happen? You should not combine these two. Understood my point? Okay, these are the two methods. Now tell me, if I call the index page, will the filter execute? Come on. If I call this, will the filter execute? Tell me fast. No. Why? You did not apply the filter now. You should apply the filter now. Without applying the filter, why will the filter code execute? The filter code won't execute to you now. Until and unless you apply the filter. Until and unless you apply the filter. So where you want to apply? You have two controllers in the project. Come on, tell me, where you want this filter to apply? Account controller or home controller? Home or account? Home. Not an account? No. Are an account, how will you again? What will happen if you apply an account, you know? You call login, it'll redirect you to login. Again, it'll redirect you to, it'll be an indefinite loop now. The page will not open at all. For login, you want login authentication? No, that is for home controller. Go to home controller and apply the filter. How to apply? Using MVC dot namespace is filters namespace now. What is your class name, guys? Do you remember? That is your class name. This is the same way you applied child action only and all the filters like that only now. But they're predefined. That's why we did not import anything. Directly system.web.mvc is already imported. All are defined in that namespace only. Straight away we used it like this. How? Child action only is the class name there. Understood my point? Okay, authorized is the class name. LM anonymous is the class name. They're predefined. Under which namespace? System.web.mvc. But now my filter is present under. That is why I imported and I applied my class name on this now. So authentication is applied on the class level. Remember, so all methods will require a authentication, not only index. Every method requires an authentication. Am I correct? Write all the methods in this class now. All these methods will require authentication now. So try to run index.html, guys. Watch where it hits first. Let us see. Check yourself. Where it came first. Louder. Open the mouth. On authentication. It came to on authentication. Checking now. Condition true. When the condition is true, what it said? You're unauthorized. You are. Now it will go to the second method. Which method? On authentication challenge. And now it is checking. Unauthorized? Yeah, true. Or null? No, it is unauthorized. So this condition satisfied now. Are you clear? Where is it going? Login page. Okay. Let me enter the user ID password. Raju @123.4. Click on the login. Guys, watch. Every request will take you there. Every request. Check it out. Now also, when you click on login, again you came here, but you did not go to the if condition. If condition failed now. Again, see, it did not go to the second method now, see. When will it go to the second method? If you fail, then only it will go to the second method. Otherwise, it won't go to the second method. That's why I said these two are two separate things. In the first one, we require to validate what? Either is valida, invalida. If it is invalid, what should happen should be in the second method. The second method won't execute always. When will second method execute? Only when there is a unauthorized request. Then only it will go to the second method. Otherwise, it won't go to the second method. Directly came to the index and launching you the index page to you. Okay. Launching you the index page to you in this particular context. So basically, you're required to just pick up the appropriate methods and write the logic inside of these two things now. Is it clearer? Yes or not? That's it, yeah. Finish, you're done. Now, every controller you define now. On the top of the controller, write down what? Authenticate filter. You have 10 controllers now. On the top of the 10, write authenticate filter. None of the action method executes to you. First, where it comes now? Account login. For account login, don't try to apply. Yes or not? If you apply there, I said you what will happen? You'll be looping there only. You won't come out. Basically, after some time in the sense, I'll tell you, see. I'll come here. Write down. What is that? Authenticate filter. Namespace is not important. Using MVC dots filters. Now I'm trying to call a page. Index. Index will take you to login. Right? Not opening same. Nothing opens now. Why? It is internally redirecting, login to login, it is redirecting. Nothing will open now. Understood or not? Too many redirects. Just a minute. Will it show in Chrome? Actually, it will show you in Chrome. Will it show? No, actually, in the old browsers, it used to show that in the address bar. Login redirecting to login redirecting to login. In the address bar, it used to show. Man, they changed the browser, I think. We are not able to see that. Filter context is a class. Authentication context is a class. Filter context is a name of the filter. See, string S. What is S here? S is of type string now. What is filter context? Authentication context. It is of type authentication context. See, for defining this filter, I did not take much thing, or I did not explain much about it. What we done yesterday is creating registration form, login form. Just for filter is a very simple process. What is the process? Add a folder. Filters. Define a class. Inherit from filter attribute. Implement the interface you want. Write the logic. Once after writing the logic, come and apply wherever you want. That's all. That is a simple code, guys. We did not write any complicated coding here. Say just that is only here starts. Say, now we can create a new user accounts by using register view and log in into the application by using login view. And once we successfully log in, it will take us to home controller index page. But we can open this page even by directly calling it also. Because right now we did not apply authentication in our application. You did not have authentication in the application. So directly opens now. So to apply authentication, let us define a custom authentication filter class under the project. To do that, first add a new under the project, name it as, and under that folder add a class, naming it as, and write the following code. Just this is a code what I explained you. Importing system.web.mvc, MVC.filters, and just two methods. One is on authentication challenge. You're required to implement the code. Note, as explained above, every filter should inherit from and implement any of the 5 predefined filter interfaces based on the type of filter we want to apply. In the current context, we are implementing it. So we need to implement authentication filter and write the logic for the 2 abstract methods of the interface. And those are on authentication challenge. Now, last step. What is it? Go to home controller file and apply the authenticate filter on the class so that authentication comes into picture when we try to access the action methods of home controller class. And to do that, first import the namespace, filters namespace, and then apply the filter on home controller class. How to apply? Class name, that's all. Just write your class name there, that's it. From now, when we try to access any action method of home controller, first authenticate filter class will check whether the user has a user key value, which we have given on successful login to each user by storing it in a session. If the user key value is missing, then it will redirect the user to login view of account controller so that unless and until a user is logged in into the application, he or she cannot access any page of home controller. If we want to apply this behavior for all the controllers in our application, use the authenticate filter attribute on all the controller classes in the project except on. Is that clear? How many controllers are there in the project? On the top of every controller, start writing it except the account controller. First, you will be authenticated, then only you will be having the access to the application. Until then, you cannot do anything over there. Point clear? Okay, so this is what. Try this. This is a simple example I've given you, but in MVC Core, I'll tell you this in more details with password changing options. Are you clear? Email confirmations, password changing, lot of things we'll see. How to change a password. If you want to change a password, an email has to be generated now. Yes or not? What? A forgot password email should be generated. In some sites, you will be finding, see, you enter an email, you will get you enter email ID, you will receive a mail. What is the mail? Confirm your email. That how to implement the confirm email options. All these things, much more detail I'll show you in MVC Core. First, use this as a fundamental first. That's all. Just to understand, that's why I did not talk more. Simple example I shown you. We'll dig more deep into this concept in our core. Are you clear? Along with open authentication. Here I shown you only 3. What? Anonymous. From day one, you're using anonymous only. Yesterday we talked about Windows, and today we talked about forms. Forms authentication. Two questions. Why shouldn't we write a directly session? Why shouldn't we directly write session? Maybe the question he was asking about here. Why I cannot use session here? Is it a view page? Is it a view page? Then how will you write session directly? You can't. See, understand here. You're developing a web application. Can you write console directly? You're developing a web application. Can we use console there? No, you can't use console. You're developing a console application. Can you use response? No. See here, based on the application we are developing here, I cannot use a session directly here. Why I cannot use session directly? Because this is not a view page, or this is not inheriting from controller. This is not inheriting from the controller. Do you remember? We used session in controller classes now. Why, sir? Because session is declared under the parent class controller. I can use it. Now did I inherit from controller? Then how can I use session then now? How to access it? Filter context dot HTTP context dot session. A direct access is not there. See here? Try to type session here. You don't get it in the list. Check. You're not getting session in the list now. Why you don't get? How do you get? Because that is present under my parent. What is the parent? Controller. But I'm not inheriting controller here. I'm inheriting what? In filter attribute, there is nothing called session now. That is why I cannot directly use session in this. Compulsory, how I should use? Filter context dot HTTP context dot session. Okay. Next. Why too many redirects? Clearly that you're calling. No, you're calling index. Index will redirect to login. Yes or not? But on login again it will come here and it will verify is the user valid. No, user is valid. Again it will send it to login. Again you will come here. Login. You will be rotating there only now. Circularly you'll be just circularly rounding around it. You cannot come out now. Why? Login calls, login again. Why is it calling? Because you did write the logic like that only now. If it's not valid, call. Now again it will come here. Not valid, again call, login. So it will be rotating there only without coming out. That is why it is too many redirect. Login redirecting to login, login redirecting to login, login redirecting to login. All the way you're redirecting from login to login only. You're never coming out of it. That's what. Yeah. So it's all about how we just use authentication and authorization. So these are all about filters, guys. From the 4 sessions I was talking about the filters. First 2 classes I explained you. Sorry, for the first 3 classes I explained you how to deal with predefined filters. Predefined filters. Then we discussed about how to use our own filters. We implemented our own filters in this context. Okay. In forms authentication, I did not show you authorization, right? In forms authentication, I did not show you authorization. Okay. I don't want to dig. We'll be wasting a lot of time talking on all these particular things. That's why I'm telling you. Understand the concept up to here. I will show all these things in detail in your MVC core. Is my point clear? First, get a basic fundamental idea. Debug. Where are you going? From where it is traveling to where? Understand the concept. I will take you much more in detail in your MVC core. Authorizing for one particular user this method access, another user this method access, how to restrict all those things also, I'll teach you. Is it clear? Yeah, Windows authentication. Yeah, just call the admin here. The admin is going to come here. Sysadmin is going to come and he will find out the problem and let you know. Because I'm just coming. Why you're not coming? I don't know. Windows 10, 11 is not coming here. But in my classroom, it is Windows 11 only, not here. In my other classroom, it is Windows 11 only. There it is working. Okay, let the system admin come. He will verify. I called him. He'll come here at 1 o'clock. And once he list up, we'll just find out. Okay. Yeah. Our next topic is AJAX. Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Some of you people who already learned ASP.NET are aware of this. AJAX, what is AJAX? But for the rest of the people, understand what is this AJAX. AJAX is a technique. AJAX is a technique to perform an action in the background. Without submitting the whole page to the server. All of you learned about it in the remote. In the data validations, one of the validation is the remote validation. On that day, I taught you remote. When we use that remote, without submitting the page to server in the background, it will contact the server and get the details from the server now. So this is also exactly the same way. On that day, I said you that example also to you. What is that? A cricket score updating automatically without the page getting refreshed. The cricket score getting updated automatically without the page getting refreshed. You're reading a newspaper. You're reading an online newspaper. On the top of the site, cricket score is getting displayed now. Now you're reading the newspaper somewhere in the middle now. Score should be updated. If score should be updated, page should be refreshed. Yes or not? If I refresh the page will be reloaded completely. Am I right? Now it will disturb your reading now. Array, the page. You're seriously reading some article. You're seriously reading the article. The page will refresh now. How do you feel? You enjoy it. You enjoy it now? It will be irritating. After 2-3 times it happens, you'll simply close the browser and go, I don't want to read. It is worst. I'm getting a bad experience reloading the page like this. Should not happen. Without that, but the cricket score should change. What should change? Means a particular part of the page should be updated without refreshing or without submitting the whole page. Are you clear? We call this a partial submission, partial post back. Without submitting the posting back the whole data, a part of the page is going to be automatically or auto updated for you. Okay. So, and that is what we call as AJAX, asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Read it. AJAX stands for is a web development technique using many web technologies on the client side to create asynchronous web pages. Recollect here in the multi-threading classes, you learned asynchronous. One in the foreground and one in the background action. One action in the foreground and one action in the background in the multi-threading classes and the task parallelism. You learned about it. Asynchronous programming. Here also, two things. The foreground, the page is getting displayed to you. Background, it is contacting the server and gather the information and update automatically. That is what we call asynchronous. To create asynchronous web application. With AJAX, web pages can send and retrieve data from a server asynchronously without interfering with the display and behavior of the existing page by decoupling the data interchange layer from the presentation layer. AJAX allows web pages to change content dynamically without the need to reload the entire page. The content changes dynamically without reloading the entire page. AJAX is not a single technology, but rather a group of technologies. Actually, AJAX means, I'm telling you, before 90s, not before 90s also, web applications became popular only in 90s. Web applications became popular only in the 90s when internet was growing fast. Before 90s, we don't have internet. When internet came, 90s. In India, we got internet in 97, 98. Before that, maybe present only in the big companies and government organizations. That's all. In the Indian intelligence, only in the intelligence bureaus and all these particular things. For general public, it is not at all going to be in reach. You know, I remember in my college days, when I'm studying my college in 97, 98, in my college days, at that point of time, then only internet came. And no one has personal internet here. We used to go to internet cafes. Per hour, we used to pay 60 rupees. Per hour, we used to pay 60 rupees in 98, guys. You know what is the cost of the gold on that day? 10 grams gold is 5,000 rupees. Today, 50 to 60,000. Now compare it now, 60 rupees on that day, I'm paying me on 98. What is the cost of it now? Into 10 means per hour, I'm paying 600 rupees. 600 rupees, you pay your monthly bill now. Yes or not? That much expensive it is. It's very, very expensive. It's very, very expensive at that. We don't have internet. Slowly by 2000, throughout the, means in the all the major countries, internet became popular. And then they thought of building web-based applications. Then they thought of building the web-based applications. So after 2000 only, these web-based applications and all came. So web-based application, by 2005, they thought like web-based applications are working fine, but every time refreshing the pages and all is waste of time. Then they came out with Ajax. So all this happened somewhere around between 2000 to 2005 between this Ajax came in the market. Are you clear? So first we have web development and later on what came? Ajax came to make your pages much more effective. Much more effective. Ajax came into picture. It is not one technology, but it is a combination of a set of technologies. What are those? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, XML HTTP request, XML, JSON, all these things are combined together. So what? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, XML HTTP request, okay, XML or JSON. All these things are combined together to make up your Ajax. So read this. Ajax is not a single technology, but rather a group of like are used in combination to mark up and style the information. What is that? Just take this example, guys. The same cricket score example, what I'm teaching you. The score should be updated now. So what will happen? The page should contact the server. Once the page contacts the server, the information will come from the server now. After getting the information, should I display this on the screen or not? Yes or not? While displaying this, suppose I'm displaying the score on the screen, overs, someone is out. So I want to change the colors now. If anyone is out, I want to show in the red color. If the person hits a 6, I want to show in a green color. If he hits a 4, I want to show in a blue color. So all this updation should be done. Then you require the help of HTML and CSS now. How do you display the output here? HTML and CSS. To mark up and the web page will be modified by JavaScript will take the responsibility of updating the page. JavaScript will take the responsibility of updating the page. Okay. So the web page will be modified by JavaScript to dynamically display and allow the user to interact with the new information. The built-in XML HTTP request object within JavaScript is used to execute Ajax on web pages, allowing web applications to load content onto the screen without refreshing the page. See, JavaScript will do all the work to you. What work? Displaying and all. But inside of the JavaScript, there is a class. What is the class? This class is actually responsible to run the Ajax on your application. This class is actually responsible to run the Ajax on your application. Okay. Now tell me, you want to transport the data to and fro? Come on, you want to transport the data to and fro between client and browser and server. Yeah, you need to send a request that will send a response. You want to transport the data now. And to transport this data, number of times from day one, I'm telling you, in web application, data transportation should always be done in text format only. Yes or not? And if at all you want to format it, use HTML. If you want to describe it, use XML. XML is a describing language. It will describe you the content that is present inside of it. Yes or not? XML. And already I taught you one day, already in the classrooms to you. What is it? XML is outdated. Now we are replacing that with JSON. XML is outdated. That is replaced with JSON. One day I explained about the JSON, how the JSON data comes to you. On that day only I explained you about XML, its drawback, and why JSON came into picture. So to exchange the data between the browser and the server, we can either use XML or we can either use JSON. XML is old format, JSON is the latest. So now you understand what the browser and the server should communicate with each other. Am I correct? This class will do that. Which class? XML HTTP request. Now it has to send the data, receive the data. And all that is going to be used either in the form of XML or JSON. Now, after receiving the data should be displayed on screen. HTML, bringing all these things together, JavaScript. JavaScript will bring all these things together. Did you understand me? Again, I'm telling you, who is responsible for communication in the background? XML HTTP request class. That's a part of the JavaScript only. Okay, that is responsible. And to transport the data to and fro, either we use XML or we use JSON. Now, the received data should be displayed on the browser, HTML, CSS. Combining all these things together, who is there? JavaScript. The JavaScript is the one which is going to bring all these things together. That is the relation between all these things now. Understood my point here? So that's what it is, not a single technology, but rather a group of technologies. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, XML, HTTP request, XML or JSON, everything together. Ajax is not a new technology or a different language, just existing technologies used in it. HTML is new, CSS is new, JavaScript is new, nothing is new. All these are old. But what we are doing, we are bringing all these things together and we are using it in a new way. That's it. Got the point or not? We are bringing all these things together and using it in a new way. Today, people are eating millets. Are this new? Our father, grandfathers, all they used it here. Afterwards, what happened is we just came with sophisticated mechanisms and all the junk food and everything. And now again you become health cautious. Again you're turning back into millet food now. The old one only. But now what earlier means, now what they're doing with these millets only, they're trying to make it more attractive. What is it? Millet biscuits, millet snacks. Or earlier we don't have millet snacks and millet biscuits and all. Yes or not? The same old, but trying to present you in a new way. Got it? So this is also the same old technology, but we are using it in a new way. That's it. Okay. Well, now the biggest problem with Ajax is, Ajax coding will be different from browser to browser. Ajax coding varies from the Ajax code what I write in Internet Explorer may not run for Google Chrome. Did you get my point or not? From browser to browser, this coding varies. So as a developer, it's a headache for you now. So many browsers in the market. Are you ready to write the code separately for each browser now? No, we're not able to write this. And to overcome these particular problems, what happened is everyone started providing you some libraries to you, providing some libraries, telling use these libraries. These libraries will take care of the browser differences. You don't bother. Who will take care? The libraries will take care. Understood my point? If you are working with ASP.NET Web Forms, in ASP.NET Web Forms, there are some built-in controls available which can be directly used for Ajax in your application without writing any complicated coding now. But we are not using Web Forms. What are you using? MVC. Okay, how to do in MVC I'll tell you. But I'm telling you, in Java, there are some libraries to use Ajax in Java application. In ASP.NET Web Forms, we have some libraries to use Ajax in your applications. But in MVC, how do I use it? You can use jQuery. jQuery also has a built-in support for Ajax. jQuery provides you the libraries for Ajax. And that libraries will take care of the browser differences. You and me are not responsible. It will present the code based on the browser. The request is coming from Internet Explorer. It will use a different coding for Ajax. If the request is coming from Google Chrome, it will use a different coding for Ajax. All that will be taken care by jQuery to you. You're not responsible. So what is jQuery? jQuery is nothing but a JavaScript library. That's all. You learned JavaScript, raw JavaScript, right or not? Simplifying the JavaScript, they provided you some set of libraries. I'll tell you in simple words here. You learned C#, all of you. In C#, you learned object-oriented programming, how to define classes and all the things. Now, some of you people learned Windows programming. Some of you people learned web forms. In both these two things, commonly we came across controls, text boxes, buttons and all. Yes or not? Is a text box ready-made or are you developing the text box on your own? Now imagine yourself if text box is not there. You will start crying now. Literally, you'll start crying only now. Why? There's no text box. How to build an application? You require to develop a text box first now. It will take a minimum 1 month to build a text box. You know that? Minimum 1 month to build a text box. Why? How many properties, how many methods, how many events, all the coding you should write for everything now. Like this, you start building every control. How much time it will take you understand now? But you have controls ready-made now. Libraries. And what you done? You dragged and dropped the control over Visual Studio writing the code. You are just using up the things. That's all. It made your job easy. So like same way, Java, jQuery, see C# and C# is there. Using C# I can write anything now. But Windows Forms and Web Forms is a library of C# which is providing you controls to build applications now. Same way, all of you learned JavaScript. JavaScript is a language. Using that language, they've given you some libraries ready-made now. And those libraries are jQuery. jQuery is a library. And the jQuery has a built-in support for using ASP NET. And it will be taking care of all the browser differences. You're not at all responsible for that. Read the note. Different browsers implement the ASP differently. That means if you're adopting the typical JavaScript way to implement the ASP, you must write a different code to ensure that ASP would work cross-browser. Are you ready to write the code? Tell me. So many browsers in the market, and based on that writing means the hell now. Okay? But fortunately, jQuery simplifies the process by implementing ASP by taking care of those browser differences. It offers simple methods such as load, get, post, etc. to implement the ASP that works seamlessly across all the browsers. XML is commonly used as a format for receiving server data, although any format including plain text also can be used. In practice, modern implementation commonly utilizes JSON instead of XML due to the advantage of JSON being native to JavaScript. And also it is simplified code compared with the XML. One day I shown you also, if it is XML, how do you write employee data? If it is JSON, how do you write employee data? Which one is easy? JSON. And also it is a native of JavaScript. Because JSON means JavaScript object notation. It's a part of JavaScript only. So compatibility wise, that will be more and more effective compared to the XML. That is why XML is removed now. And what came into picture? JSON came into picture, what we are using here. Is it clearer or not? Understood? So if at all you want to use, ASP in your project, you're required to first install the required libraries. What libraries? To work with jQuery, we need to install the jQuery plugin in your project. And to do that, open NuGet Package Manager, search for jQuery, and there you'll find jQuery by, and already we know how to install jQuery. We learned it already now. We know how to install jQuery also in our project. Just I'm telling you that's all. Because already you guys have used jQuery earlier also for validations, for all the validations. You're required to first go for installing the jQuery on your machines explicitly. Then only you can use ASP in the application. Okay. I'll show you guys. I'll show you the page. How the score updates automatically without refreshing the page. Did you understand me or not? The score is going to update automatically on the page without refreshing the page. So many areas we use Ajax here. Not only that one I taken as a sample example. That's all to you. But you see, google.com. I'm just opening Google. I want to search for some topic. What I want to search for ASP.NET Core. Okay. Now when I'm typing here, ASP.NET, are you getting the options to you? Intelligence. Yes or not? Suggestions. They're basically suggestions. That is also Ajax only. That is also Ajax only. Did you understand me or not? That is also a part of your Ajax. See, it is not submitting the page at all. When I type here, it is loading. Are you clear? I'll show you how to just create these type of things in your application. We'll see that practically. Are you clearer? Okay, we'll see how to use the Ajax in the next session. Let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow. After this, API only. The next topic after Ajax is API only. Yes. Excuse me. Going out now. Call the admin. You're going out, call the admin.